this is the last time we'll chat before the January window, the start of it. It's an interesting one for Liverpool in recent years, because it's not something they tend to plan to go into, but they will keep their eyes open and move if the opportunity arises. And it's actually Liverpool, I'd say, have got one of the better records at January signings over the years. When they do crop up, I think Diaz, Gakpo, recent ones, going back to Suarez, he was a January edition as well. They've got a good record, so I think they'll be ready to move. But are we expecting anything? What do you think they should do, if anything?
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily expecting anything, but equally, I think it would be foolish to say they're not going to do anything. I think, as you say, they've had a very, very good record in January, and if the right opportunity presents itself, they've shown previously they're not kind of, all this talk about January not being a good window, or it's difficult or whatever. Liverpool have really made some good signings in this period, so no chance I kind of go into it ruling it out or saying it's going to be a quiet January by any means. So I think they'll have a look. Certainly, I think there's a lot of talk about maybe signing a defender, but I'm not so sure about that. I don't think they'll go into this window thinking that's a desperate need, because Conor Bradley and Ibrahima Konate are close. They've got Tsimikas back now. They've got 4 centre halves and 2 fullbacks. That should be enough to get you through. And I know left back is an area that they'll want to look at in the summer, but I think they will wait till then. I think the one area that I'm most convinced is a possibility in this window is central midfield, but it depends on a few things. There's so many variables there. I mean, if they think they can get Zubimendi in the summer, I'm sure they will just wait, because they think he's perfect. They've gone for him before. They know everything about the player and they really like him. So I think they would wait. But if they already know it's going to be a bit of a battle with someone like Real Madrid, and they're not given any assurances, and the player may not even want to move at that point, then there's every chance that they've had a look at other central midfielders who could fulfill that role and could come in and get it done. And if that person is available in January, again, I think they would go for it, because it's an area of need that they identified in the summer, and it still exists. I think they are numbers wise in that midfield, could probably do with another who the manager fully trusts. So that for me is the area that feels most likely in January and is a real possibility. But it just depends on that. If you can't get Zubimendi in January, can you get him in summer? If you're not sure you can get him in either, who's your alternative that you've now had time to identify, and can you get them in January? Those are the kind of moving parts around it. But like I say, I wouldn't rule it out at all. But equally, not going into this window saying it's a dead cert that they're going to do something.
Yeah, are there any names sort of filtering about that possible Zubimendi alternatives?
Not really at the moment. I mean, I've seen links to Ricci, who's playing in Serie A. Not really sure about that. Profile-wise, maybe sort of makes sense age-wise, but I'm not sure about the player. I think the thing is, you've got to be convinced it's someone who's nailed on quality-wise to make a difference. They won't sort of take a gamble and feel that, oh, we need a central midfielder, therefore we should get one in January, and they're just going to dip into the market regardless. We know how they operate. It's got to be someone who moves the dial for this team. So it's just a question of whether that player is available. And in terms of names, very, very quiet at the moment. But they do pop up, and then all of a sudden the deal's done. It does happen like that. It moves very, very quickly. And I am no scout by any means, so I'm not watching all the leagues and having a look who it might be. So personally, couldn't recommend anyone. But yeah, I'm sure they'll have a good idea of who could move the dial and whether they'll be available in January. And it's just a case of we'll wait and see whether that comes to anything.